Good day to you all. We have the honor and pleasure to welcome our first guest for this very first edition of our newsletter. Funded to the tune of 28 million euros by the European Union, the Port Security and Safety of Navigation Program, also known as PSP, for Eastern and Southern Africa, is being implemented by different partners like the International Maritime Organization, INTERPOL, UNODC, and obviously the Indian Ocean Commission. For the first edition of our PSP e-newsletter, I am thrilled to interview His Excellency Mr. Vincent Degert, Ambassador of the European Union to the Republic of Mauritius and to the Republic of Seychelles.
Thank you for a warm welcome.
Excellency, European Union has been actively supporting the maritime security in Eastern and Southern Africa, and obviously the Indian Ocean project. And now we are talking about port security and safety of navigation in this particular region. Why has EU embarked in these maritime projects? What is fascinating EU about these maritime projects?
Well, I think the answer is rather simple. I think that everybody knows that the Indian Ocean is a big maritime route. 80% of the international trade is going through the Indian Ocean. A large part of that is going from Asia to Europe. It's going to our harbors in Rotterdam, Antwerpen, Marseille, Genoa, Barcelona. So it's a huge flow of goods that is going back and forth from Europe towards Asia and vice versa. So we have a direct interest to make sure that these flows are secure, that the freedom of navigation, freedom of trade is properly ensured all along that route. And as you know, in 2010, the International Maritime Bureau had identified the Indian Ocean as a high-risk area for piracy, obviously. And this had immediate effect on the trade. The insurance went up tremendously, so obviously we needed to do something. And this is what the Union has decided by sending our Atalanta operation that was 14 years ago to actually tackle piracy, as we say, off the coast of Somalia at that time. And this has been a very successful operation to make sure that our tourists coming here are in a secure environment, that the cruise ship also are in a secure environment. Obviously, we needed to make sure that security altogether was ensured in the Indian Ocean. The other dimension is there is a geopolitical stability issue which is critical. Critical for us as European Union, but even more critical for the countries which are here in the region. So what we have been trying to do with the operation against piracy, but more generally speaking, is to build what we call a maritime architecture in the area. And this means not only the EU, of course, but of course involving also all the partner countries in that respect. The fishing activities also, the fishermen from these countries also were directly affected because fishing activity went down by 30% during the time when piracy was very high on the agenda. Another threat is, of course, drugs trafficking. Charcoal is another one. Protected species is another traffic. That's even human beings are being part of this trafficking process. Illegal fishing, as we mentioned, is another big threat. It is estimated that we have around 30% of the fishing caught here are illegal. So it is really important also that we, together with the countries of the region, are able to build this maritime architecture. I think is the key reason for us to engage. We have had our MAS program, Maritime Security Program. You mentioned 42 million euros have been invested into that process. So it's a huge amount. It is concerning building the capacity, giving the equipments, because we have two centers, one in Madagascar, the other one in Seychelles, that are looking, the first one on collecting the information and analyzing the information, because you need intelligence.
Of course. My second question, it's related to what you have said. You know, we have recently witnessed several vessels which run aground, unfortunately, a few miles, like you said, in the west of the port of Mauritius, with all risks involved in terms of environmental threats to port infrastructure and systems, the risk may arise to any of the 9 beneficiary countries that PSP is involved. My fundamental question is how the implementation of this PSP program will help one country to better equip to develop a more preventive approach.
Well, what we have done first is to convince the 9 countries to join into the program. I'm very happy because it's quite important to see that we have Seychelles, Mauritius, Madagascar, Comoros, Kenya,
Angola,
Namibia, Angola, Djibouti on board of that program. So I think it's really already very reassuring that all the countries felt that there was a need to do something on this. So that's the first point of departure. Second element, 90% of the trade flows are going through the ports.
Yeah.
So it's a huge amount. 10% goes via air, but the biggest share goes via the ports.
Yeah.
So it's kind of lifeline, and we see it with the COVID problems that we have had. It's really the lifeline for every country. At the same time, it's where all the risks are concentrated. So what comes into the port area is, of course, essential. That's where all the big risks are materializing, in a sense, in this respect. Again, we need to make sure that the best standards are applied in this context. That's why among the 3 partners that we have with us in the PSP program, we have the International Maritime Organization, which sets the standards, the clear standards, what is required in the port to apply all the international conventions and the best possible standards in that respect.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we have also UNODC.
Yes.
UNODC has long practice in terms of fighting against various traffics, notably drugs and others, but also helping on the legal side.
Yes.
You need to have a strong national legislation in place, which will allow the enforcement agencies then to operate and to tackle the problem. So the problem is there, have the right legislation with the right capacities, and train also, of course, the agencies to be able to implement these rules and regulations. And then you have the investigation.
Yeah.
And there we have INTERPOL, which is, of course, the highest standards we could have in that respect, which comes in and says how to conduct the inspection.
Coming to my third question, which is again interlinked to what you have said, there has been a constant increase in maritime traffic in this part of the region, when I say southern and eastern part of Africa. And we all know how important these premises are critical for the countries in this region, especially island states and landlocked states. How the PSP program can effectively contribute in addressing security issues, preventing drug and human trafficking, potential terrorist attacks, illegal goods, among others. This is critical question to our viewers.
Well, I think it's a bit what I said already until now. We have to make understand to the criminals, like we made it understand to the pirates a few years ago, that if they try, there will be risk and there will be a reaction on the countries concerned. So we have a dissuasive element here, which can be clear and strong if we are able to really do everything which I described before, have all these standard operating procedures, have all these technological tools at reach, and that we are able to use them properly.
Okay.
This is really, I think, essential. We have Coast Guard's boats here behind us in the boat. It's good that they are here, but it's better when they are at sea and using their intelligence to attack and intercept trafficking in this respect. But for them to be able to do that, we need, again, share the information, have our intelligence, know what are the risks, and target those risks and go after these risks. This is really how we're going to be succeeding all together on this path. But again, it's something where regional and international cooperation is critical. you have to do your work on the national level, reinforcing legislation, not working in silo, but working in a cooperative attitude between the enforcement agencies. You have to have the connection between the national level and the regional level, because there's a lot of capacity information available. But if you do not connect the national level with the regional level, this will not work, because the sea is a shared ocean, and everybody has his own responsibilities. So we need really to have this interaction. And then you can bring also the knowledge, the expertise, the capacity building to continue, because it's a continuous process.
Yes.
As I explained, the criminals are very intelligent. They know to use all the loopholes, all the weaknesses that are ours. So we need to lock these weaknesses. We need to close them and to show that we are strong. And if they try to do something, they will be sanctioned and there will be a reaction on our side.
Ambassador, you know, as an ending note, this video is targeted to the national focal points, you know, the ministers concerned, the leading journalists of all the participating countries, and obviously all the stakeholders, implementing partners. Any information you want to share with our viewers through this interview?
But I think first to thank them for their commitment and engage it. I think from what I explained, I think everyone has a very critical role to play. These national focal points are really essential, because they can explain maybe what I did now also at the national level, so that there is a strong ownership. Because what is missing, honestly, sometimes in our program is a strong ownership on the national part, on the part of the. So they can convey that message, they can share that message. We can come, if they want, to each and every country to explain what we are going to do, how we're going to do it, what is the interest for each and every country to be part of that process. And if we are able to do that at national level, to be motivated to work efficiently as at regional level, then I think we can have successes, because we need success. I say it always. As EU ambassador, I'm very happy that I can sign, because I'm also authorizing officer. So I'm also signing all the expenditures that we are making. I'm signing, giving contracts with the coast guards of the various countries to go at sea and so on and so forth. But I have to explain to my taxpayers that money is well used. That money gives results.
Thank you, Ambassador. It was a pleasure to have you for our first e-newsletter. Viewers, Ambassador of EU to the Republic of Mauritius and Seychelles. Thank you, sir. Thank you.